Well, okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino, Tuesday, November 15, 2022. This is my post-market wrap-up. A pretty volatile day. Stocks higher most of the day. We did finish the day higher. However, on these unconfirmed reports that a missile or missiles fired by Russia apparently maybe possibly hit Poland. Well, the instantaneous response was what you would expect. The dollar reversed and goes higher, was getting decimated earlier in the day. And of course, the stock market took a hit. We did recover from that. But, I'm looking at the major indices. I'm watching the dollar. Before I even knew it was reported of anything, nothing was reported yet. I'm like, what's going on? And I'm digging. All of a sudden, the reports come through here. I often wonder, seriously, how does the market know before it's even announced anywhere? How did, for example, like the dollar all of a sudden just automatically knee-jerk higher, and again, the stock market give up all of its gains and go negative before even a story was even reported? I've never been able to get my head around that, but that's just the way it works in this game that we all play, I guess. And you play this game even if you don't. Do you realize that? I mean, there are people like myself that are in the market. That's what we do. And there are those of you that maybe don't consider yourselves in the market. Meanwhile, you're taking out, acting in dollars, you're paying taxes and everything else. So yeah, you're an integral part of this game too. I can't tell you how many people, don't get that. They feel kind of disconnected from it now. Currencies are tradable assets. Debt is tradable assets. You are a tradable asset, and I mean that. When they report on, for example, the labor force participation rate, unemployment numbers, blah blah blah. That's you. Yeah, you're an asset too that can be traded. What do you think about that? Me too. Yeah, nothing escapes the realm of this financial charade. It's just a game, and you all just know that. Anyway, so we do have some things I want to talk about. Let's start off with before I even touch a little more here on the market. Let's cover what I think is actually a little bit more important here. Now, you and I understand, and we've covered this over and over again, the unfortunate situation here with household debt, personal debt, consumer debt exploding. People can't make ends meet. They're borrowing beyond their eyeballs. Savings rate in the negative. Well, we got some other pieces of information here today. So the cost of living, okay. Now, we just got this great news today. Remember, wholesale prices continue to rise. Just like inflation, it continues to rise. But because both of these numbers here, the CPI and the PPI, Consumer Price Index, Producer Price Index, whatever letters they want to throw at you, because they sound really good. Even though they're showing us inflation continues to rise and has nowhere to go but higher. Again, by the Federal Reserve's own measures, inflation is going higher. Okay, but they can't tell you that. Although it was kind of leaked out a few weeks ago. Personal consumer expenditures, pointing kind of straight up. That's the Federal Reserve's favorite indicator. Oh yeah, but you see, you can't know these things. No, because you see, they have to sell you the lie or twist it around. Oh yeah, it's rising, still going up, but it missed the expectations of the rocket scientist economists out there. Oh, they're just so smart. How about no? They never get a damn thing right. Never, ever. I mean, seriously, they should come up with a new, something else. This just doesn't work. And I really believe this, what I'm about to tell you. I think they make it up. When they say economists polled, they just make it up. John, Mary, Paul, whoever, Horatio, make up some names here and there. Oh yeah, well, this is what they said. It's just all made up. I don't believe a single data point, honestly, because these people can't be so stupid. It's impossible, but I guess it's impossible. What do I know? So the story is, again, it's a terrible thing. Household debt rises at the fastest pace ever, with credit card balances ballooning. The cost of living continues to rise. Now, according to the Federal Reserve, we just had the biggest jump in credit card debt in over 20 years. This is the phenomenon that you and I spoke about, I don't know how long ago, 2 years ago, where we said, right here on this blog, that we would see this exact thing occur as prior members of the middle class are trying to maintain the illusion of a middle class existence. And how are they doing this? By assuring they're going to fall to the lower rung of society, continuing to borrow beyond their eyeballs. Look, we have a situation here. I mean, look this up for yourself. Loan delinquencies are on the rise. People and they continue to bury themselves in debt, even though they can't pay off their current debt, just to maintain that illusion of a middle class existence. They continue to borrow. And it's a very sad situation. But this is exactly what you would expect to see. And what the Federal Reserve is counting on as they continue to inflate. You see, look, they know how people react. The behavior of the population really, for the most part, is extremely predictable. Okay, people are going to do this in that kind of situation, that in another kind of situation. So if people are forced to deal with an inflationary environment like we have here, what are they going to do? They're going to borrow. They're going to borrow even more. They're going to obviously not save. They're going to struggle to make ends meet as central banks continue to push the population off a cliff, pretty much, as they strive to achieve their end game goal, which is to wipe out the middle class, completely wipe them out, and create more people. Create more people who are dependent on the system. But this is the goal here of world governments, which are central banks. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter who controls this or who controls that. It don't matter at all. It's central banks control the economy and they control the financial system. Everything else is theater. It's just nice men and women dressed up in suits and ties trying to get your ear, and they're going to promise you the world. And you know what happens? Your life sucks worse and worse and worse. Period. And they laugh at you. They laugh at you behind your back. You understand that? Because they realize that they got you trapped. Anyway, the goal here of central banks is to force as many people into some kind of debt slavery, to be dependent on the system here, handouts. And that's really what this is all about. We haven't had a free market economy in many, many, many years. It's accelerating more towards a controlled environment. Do you understand? That's what we have. And in this environment, like in every other kind of an environment or situation here, there's going to be those that win and those that lose. The vast majority of people are going to lose here as we move into this environment of control. More control, a lot more control. And what better way to do that than to, again, create people that are dependent on the system. They need the system to survive, and they'll do anything because they want to survive themselves. You understand? Of course, that's just human nature, or the nature of any living thing is to survive. You understand? Anyway, that's the story here. Just real quick, I want to, before we again go over to the market, I've explained to all of you, we've discussed it right here, I don't know how many times, that we are in currently, central banks are in a race to the bottom. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've used that exact terminology and those words, trying to convey to all of you what central banks are doing. That is destroying their currencies, sucking out the purchasing power. And in fact, the key element of this is how central banks can continue to balloon the money supply. And that is the root cause of inflation here. It's nothing else. I mean, they're going to tell you it's supply chain disruptions. They're going to tell you it's whatever scenario. The fact of the matter is, we have an environment where there's massive amounts of extra bills floating around the world right now, in whatever form they may exist, whether it's digital or actually printed out of thin air. And now they're starting to chase a lesser amount of goods. You understand? And that is the root cause of inflation, but you're not allowed to know that. You have to believe and be told that it's a rate hike problem. And I've talked about this to the point of like nauseum, but I think you're all up to speed on that. So anyway, look, you get it. Let's just walk over here to the stock market. Silver under some pressure today. Gold putting on a gain. Crude oil turned around after the apparent Russian aberrant missile that hit Poland, or whether it did or not, I have no idea. Look, I was just talking to a friend of mine just a little while ago, and we were texting. I'm like, how do we even know this is real? How do we even know this is real? You know, they tell us a lot of things. And it just turns out to be dog shit, cat shit, bird shit, reptile shit, insect shit, whatever else you want to think about. Anyway, so stocks did finish positive today after that roller coaster ride here. Dollar reversed higher after the apparent missile strike, whatever. 10-year yield, okay. Not doing too much of anything here, but look, you got this. And I'm proud to say that. You and me, we got it. We know there's no guesswork for you and I. We know exactly what we're looking at. We have some tools that we have in our little toolbox. It's not just the Federal Reserve who has some tools. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, we got our own tools, better ones, much better. And we're going to utilize that. We're going to utilize everything to our own advantage. Period. The end. And it's just understanding that knowledge is power, and realizing what they're doing, how they're working towards their end game, what they're actually trying to do, creating people that are dependent on the system by forcing inflation higher, by setting up an environment where inflation has nowhere to go but higher, but then again, using the propaganda ministry to tell you that what you're seeing is not real. It's an incredible thing, but it's really the truth here. All right, people, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in this post-market wrap-up. I do sincerely hope this has been informative for you. And with that said, I'm going to close this video. Please, as I said, comment. What do you think about all this here? Anything special you want me to know? I do read through the comments. And I try as hard as I can to get rid of these scammers and spammers, and it's like they're out of control out here. But you see, you're too smart to fall for the bullshit. Anyway, I'll see you all in the morning. Love you a lot.